And apparently we're live. Okay, so apparently it is going to be the Matt and AJ show until other people actually bother to show up. Alex is, I don't know what Alex is doing. I think Alex is still working.
He's doing something of the sort.
Danny is working. We know that. And Mr. Matt Pullen will be our other gentleman that's going to join us this evening. And we're going to sit around and talk rally. Hi, my name is Matt. I own the yellow Mazda-Roo, the Subaru-powered RX-7. AJ?
I'm AJ. I tried to do this from the garage so you can see my car in the background, but it was less than optimal. And my car is not as pretty as Matt's or as bright yellow.
That's true. Well, so the yellow, so there was a gentleman out east. Oh God, what was his name? Jack Himes, I believe his name was.
Okay.
So he was part of the whole original Max Attack 2-wheel drive thing, and he had a first-gen RX-7, and it was yellow. And he unfortunately passed away from cancer, if I remember correctly. And thank you, Jake Himes. Jason. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like all of that reason, but it was also, I had some bases to see pictures of a yellow RX-7, and I thought it looked really cool. It didn't sound as cool as his, but, you know, it is what it is. So, RX-7, and I thought it looked
sorry about that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so what are we going to talk about today? So we got a lot of things like that I've just rambling put down. AJ is currently running a chop shop out of his house. Somehow his wife is still enjoying his company.
Yeah, I can't explain that.
So explain how many Audis you currently have rolling around.
I actually only have, rolling. I have three rolling.
Okay. Okay. Let's drop it down. Okay. So let's say running.
I have 3. Well, no. Rally car is not running yet. It's probably could have been started tonight, maybe tomorrow, this week. It's starting this week.
Yeah. Okay. So running, total
4.
Okay. Rolling
3.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, let's see. I mean,
one of them is very close to not being a roller anymore because I'm parting it out as I yank the motor out. However, up until the motor comes out, technically it still starts and runs.
I think so. I mean, I mean, it doesn't have to run for long. No. As long as it runs.
And then that motor goes in the other car. So at a certain period of time, they're both going to be non-runners.
So is this the street car? Is this the rally car?
That's the street car. The rally car has its motor in. Gotcha. Built me some fuel lines the other night. And you know what? I actually had some questions about the fuel lines. Is the fittings that I picked up, I'm seeing most of them come with a ferrule. And the fittings I have don't really have a ferrule. I mean, they just kind of plug in, screw tight, and clamp on.
Okay.
And not sure if that's going to be a problem or not. We'll see when it comes to pressure test.
I mean, I ghetto rigged mine pretty bad. So I basically just got a big loop of, what size is that? Like 3/8 tubing.
Yeah.
And laid it in the car and bent it out and then slightly flared the ends. Slightly? Well, enough to where, you know, a good hose clamp, they weren't going to, I mean, I'm not running like 150 PSI. I'm running like, I don't know, 40. So, yeah, no, I mean, it's fine. And so far I have no leaks, but you know, it was nice. I was able to get a single hose all the way down, from the gas tank to the engine bay, which was kind of cool. What is AJ drinking? What is AJ drinking?
AJ's drinking Mac and Jacks. Fresh out of the rally keg out in the garage.
Excellent.
But I've got to make it last now that I'm in the house. Can't just start pounding it down because then I'd have to leave the video.
That's okay. I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
It'll be just the Matt show.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, we can have an intermission just to go get beers. So, all right. So you're parting cars, you're working on cars, and then somehow apparently the sheriff shows up today.
Shit. Well, no, that was a different deal. I almost got pulled over for tuning a car today. Yesterday was the so I've had to rebuild the rally car a couple times now, where I've had to cut pieces off other cars and weld them on, and ultimately buying a parts car is a risky deal as far as getting the title. And in the past, I've had to chop the cars up just to get rid of them because the local recycling yard won't take them if any piece resembles a car,
right,
which generally means cutting it up into at least 4 pieces. This time I went in, and apparently the back end of the car looked a little too much like a car, so I got rejected and was told to call the sheriff's office. So I figured, what the hell? Why not just do something the right way for once in my life? And I called the sheriff's office and asked them to come out and help me with the heap removal. Normally, they would send out a volunteer, a sheriff, a retired sheriff or some volunteer for the city or whatever.
Right.
Due to the virus, I actually had a couple of sheriff patrol cars show up in the driveway to come inspect my chop shop, where I had an engine on a hoist and a car that was cut into essentially thirds at this point in time, and had to explain that, yeah, I just want it gone. Right. However, at the time that we're doing this, my neighbor has some old storm windows. They just replaced all the windows in their house, and he was asking if he could borrow my trailer to run them to the dump. And I suggested, well, why would we do that? We could just throw them on a tarp, shatter them all up, and dump them in your recycling bin. So the sheriff shows up as the neighbor and I are both stomping our way around on a 12 by 24 tarp with, 4 by 8 glass window panes on it to get them into small enough shards to dump them into the recycling bin. And the neighbor and I just start laughing as soon as we couldn't even talk to the poor sheriff. She shows up, and as we're trying to fill out the paperwork, she ended up being really, really nice. And it turns out Washington State will haul the thing off for you if you do it the legal way.
Okay, pause for a second, because I need to know more about this, as I've moved to Washington, and Oregon didn't have anything remotely close to that. So I'm assuming they come out and they take the VIN and they run a check on it, right?
Correct. You shoot off a piece of paperwork that goes out to the prior owner. It gives them 15 days to say, hey, I want that back, or it was stolen, or whatever it is they're going to say.
Okay, and so then, you feel you have to find the original, whoever the last owner was? Is that what I
don't have to. No, the sheriff actually came out and pulled all that up for me. They did all the research for me right there in their car, filled out the paperwork, signed it, and handed it to me and said, mail this off.
Gotcha.
So it was kind of idiot proof. And then you shoot off a couple copies of that, give it 14 days, and then call the sheriff's office back up. And my understanding is they've got contracts with local wreckers, and local wrecker comes out, picks it up, hauls it off, and they get the scrap value of it.
Sure.
And the whole program, as long as it's not titled in my name, gets rid of a heap off your property.
That's awesome. And unfortunately, my wife is now watching this, so crap. No, I hide the cars really well on the property, honey. You don't see them. They're on the other side of the garage. You only see them because you're now out building like a chicken shed. So they run-ish. And if Mr. Culbertson would ever come help me get one of them running, maybe I'd actually do something. No. Well, that's cool, because the last car I had to get rid of, I had to do that exact same thing. Sitting there with a Sawzall for like 2 weekends, and hi, Alex.
Hello.
Hey, Alex. Turn your video on so we can see you.
And it's on my phone, and it's like just facing up on a table.
Fair enough.
Right.
So I mean, I got that thing so small, like it wasn't even like 4 recognizable pieces. I probably cut the thing down into, I don't know, 30 or 40 pieces, even to the point to where I made sure that I kept the VIN plates
Off the car.
Off the car. And then even small pieces of the car, I was putting in my recycling bin.
Okay, I've done that.
Yeah. So.
Are we talking about disposing of cars?
We are.
Yeah.
And my recent experience with the sheriff's office. Yeah. So it turns out as long as if you buy a parts car, don't put the title in your name and then just claim it's an abandoned vehicle when it comes time to get rid of it.
They're all in my name is the problem.
Well, you screwed up.
Yeah, I did.
Did I tell you about the time I had to get rid of an RX-7?
Is this the one Matt sold you?
Could.
No, this was like long before I... No. This is when I lived in Ohio.
And
so this car was actually known as the death car. Yeah, I'm going to, but let me preface this with, when I first bought this car, it actually, the owner who was helping us, load the car up that I bought it from, he had it up on wood blocks such that the jack wouldn't reach when you were trying to get the car on the ground. So he put a wood block on the jack to get the car high enough to get off that, but when he lowered the jack back down, the wheels wouldn't touch. So his idea was to roll it off this wood block. And you know how jack handles are spring-loaded?
Yes. If they work.
And
yes.
You know
that's
how,
where I was going with that.
Yeah. So the jack handle, half of it was missing because he probably used the other half as a breaker bar. So it was only like a half a jack handle. And the back of an RX-7 bumper is basically just metal. And so my idea was just get another jack. He insisted that we just push the car and have it tip off the block. And what ended up happening is the car rolled down, the jack caught his finger and cut his finger basically off.
Oh.
Yeah. So he went to the emergency room. I'll spare you the details on the rest of that. The trick is he never gave me the title before he went to the emergency room. So I never got a title for the car. And this is back when you had to do like Auto Trader. Email was like the only way to get a hold of him. He also wasn't answering my calls. So I never got a title. And I had to get rid of the car because the email I actually got from him after like a year said the title is with my finger gone. So that was the only reply I had.
Okay.
Well, I did have one other experience where I did title the car in my name and I had to get rid of a parts car that had 0 wheels, 0 tires, 0 subframes, nothing underneath it. It was literally a shell with, actually, that engine was the first engine that went in the rally car. And in that one, I did have it titled in my name. However, AAA turns out is more than happy to come out and tow that to the local repair shop or wrecking yard, whatever address you give them. And that works, Matt, if you've got one in your name.
Interesting. Well, no, I don't want to get rid of any. My wife does, but I live in a fantasy world. Let me live there some days.
Fair enough.
But I didn't get a chance to finish. So let me tell you why so that's why I had to get rid of the car. Now, the problem with Ohio, if you don't have a title, no one will take it. There's just no way to get rid of a car. So we actually did have to cut it up, and we were a little lazy. So we borrowed the torches from the gas station we were working at the time, brought back to the house, and I wanted the axle out of it. So our lazy idea was to torch the links like they would at the junkyard, pull the axle out. So we rolled the car, we cut the car in half, front half goes away. That was easy. So now we rolled the car over to get the axle out. What I did not realize is, one, it had about 11 gallons of gas still in it, and two, someone took the gas cap. So when we dump this car over, all the gas comes out of the car. And that'd be fine, except it was right outside this detached garage with a slight slope downhill to a trough drain. So all the gas ran into this trough drain. And we had a hose, but it didn't really reach well. So I just lobbed water at it for like an hour, I would say, before we decided to continue torching the axle out. So my buddy's on torch duty, and I got a cup of water ready for any kind of like small fires from torching. And I looked down on the ground, and there's this like little rag on the ground with a little flame on it. And my thoughts should have been this wet rag should not be on fire. So I tossed my little cup of water at it, and the fire just trickles on top of the water into the trough drain and fucking explodes into a fireball and catches the whole car on fire. Huge fireball goes up, just like woof. My buddy goes running. We're trying to like evacuate the torches from the immediate area. Yeah, it was a mess. and then we couldn't get the fire out with like dirt and lobbing water at it. Finally kind of gets muffled down, but there's a little bit of fire popping out of the rear tail light. So then we have to flip the car back over to get that out. Whole thing reignites because now it has oxygen again. Same thing, friend goes running. We're trying to throw dirt on it from the fire pit and lob water from a hose that doesn't reach. My buddy's trying to call 911 and we're trying to tell him not to. Yeah, that car was the death car because it like literally tried to kill everyone. Successfully named a person. Yeah.
So
can't be as worse as that.
So you stole the axle, you caught the thing on fire. Yeah, no, you win that story. I mean, congratulations.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Yeah. So where was the getting rid of the car? Did you just let it burn to the ground?
No, once it went out, we finished getting the axle off of it, and we had the same people take the back half of the car.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I've only done one car having no title for, and I did buy a rally vehicle with no title, the old Mighty Max. That was I learned very special ways of getting titles within Oregon with mechanics liens. So it was a way too easy process.
It's pretty straightforward.
No, it's like the dumbest process ever. But anyway, so yeah, that's my only other experience. And nowadays, I tell you what, I don't even mess with anything without a title. I don't even care how cheap it is. So, I mean, it can just sit there. Because I've looked at a couple of cars over in Oregon, and they're like, oh, well, I've got a missing title. And I was like, yeah, Washington doesn't give a shit about that. So.
Washington actually has got a relatively easy way to do it too. You can, matter of fact, getting a lost title in Washington takes just a few minutes. They'll send you what's essentially a provisional title. However, it takes 2 years to clear that provisional status.
I thought it was 3.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't prevent you from selling it. You can sell a car with a provisional title.
Are you?
Yes.
All right, fair enough. I'll give you that.
So it's still doable, but I'm not saying it's easy. Or, well, It is easy. I'm not saying it's, I don't know what I'm saying.
All right. So the other Matt, apparently, Jesus Christ, what are you drinking?
Tea. I'm English. It's tea.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. So our other guest today is Mr. Matt Pullen. As I always like to say, my favorite Canadian, because he's essentially the only one that I know. And don't even
have
really.
This if I run out.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I think you should. So he was kind enough to join us this evening because Danny is, saving the world or doing something important. I think working on planes or something. So welcome, Mr. Pullen.
Hi.
How are you?
What are you talking about? Oh, I'm doing good. Dealt with puppies. I don't have to worry about them anymore. Talk about proper things like cars.
Yeah. No, we were discussing getting rid of cars, and we've kind of burned that one out.
Literally?
So, well,
literally. Yeah, literally.
Gosh damn it, Alex.
Burn that one to the ground.
There's a drinking game.
Yo, yeah, dang it. Literally. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're a jerk.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jacob. If you get too hammered this evening, that's my fault. So engine swaps. I want to talk engine swaps because
I'm watching the comments.
Oh, that's so funny. Right. I'm sorry, man. So Alex has been on this kick lately. So everybody knows the wonderful Honda K motors, right? So Alex is, I don't know, obsessed about them recently. Is that a good way of putting it?
That's strong.
Is that strong but accurate?
It's not inaccurate.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea. I don't know. You originally actually were the one who brought it up, so this is really just your fault anyway.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, let's be real. If somebody's going to bring up a really bad engine swap idea, it's going to be me. But I mean, at least the K motor doesn't suck, and it can make power, unlike my lump of whatever.
Crap.
I mean, it's not crap.
Well, right.
I mean,
so like, think about it.
I could think of other swaps that would have been worse. Let's put it that way.
Really? Well, worse is easy, but so think about it. You have an M42 motor. I'm not going to do the 6-cylinder. I'm not really interested in that route. I don't really like how it drives. All right, I like my 4-cylinder, but an M42 is not going to make a lot of power without dropping inexorbitant amounts of money. And it's, it's cast iron versus aluminum. There's some weight savings argument, whatever. But when you look at just the availability, living in the Bay Area, I could just go drive and pick up one of these engines. I don't have to worry about shipping it. I don't really need to even worry about the cost too much. I might be able to go to the junkyard and get like a K24 motor for $300. So I could the idea is to run it stock, not mess with it, not build some over-the-top engine rebuild. The idea would be sort of like your Subaru motor that blows up, whatever, get another one from the junkyard. And since Honda made 1 billion K-series motors and they're decently interchangeable, I feel like it's like a pretty good solution because someone else already engineered the transmission to motor swap.
Yes, you at least got that going for you, whereas I had to find the gentleman to make up my idea.
Right.
I think any swap that you're going to do is going to be easier if someone else has already done the hard work for you. Doesn't matter what engine it is.
Oh, for sure. Because you'll at least be able to ask somebody. I mean,
right.
Yeah. Even just a simple question. My God. Anyways, so, but yeah, so you've been, I don't know, you even have a spreadsheet going?
Unfortunately, our internet here is not conducive to the video on this, and I don't want to be like last time where I aired out halfway through. But running the numbers, I think it would be cheaper than building the motor that's in there to make equivalent power. So the motor that's in there might make 110. I could make 210 instead. With a stock motor with OE reliability on something that comes with like a stock tune and doesn't require any hullabaloo versus trying to build that motor into some like hot cammed, idles like garbage, doesn't want to run right, or more tuning requirements. Plus I've already had some issues with that engine in the past. It's got 160,000 miles on it. Leaks from everywhere. Rear main, front main, just everything leaks out of it. So it kind of needs a bunch of attention anyway. And the transmission wouldn't change. It already needs a clutch. So if you have to do a swap or change a clutch around, you're going to have to buy one clutch anyway. You'd have to tune it anyway or wire up something anyway. So if I could do more of an OEM approach to this for something that's easier to find and much newer and more powerful, it kind of just makes sense to me.
Well, you're not wrong. I mean, I fully support that. And I mean,
as long as it gets finished, he's not wrong.
Right. I mean, Alex is good with.
I think we need Mr. Pullins because Matt, you got that truck done in how fast?
Oh, like 2 weeks.
It seemed like a month.
I did it in 12 days, and that was just working weekends. I did five weekends is all it took to do it.
That's amazing. Alex, we've got an expert on the line.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, don't ask me. Mine took 10 years. So
I'm not really much better.
So I blew the engine up in the AE86 the weekend, and I had to throw another Beams motor into it. And that swap isn't the easiest of swaps to do, but it gives you a crap ton more power.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 135, 220, normally aspirated, it works.
Have you run that car with the beams in it yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Scary. It's so quick. It is so quick.
Did you do an event?
I did.
Or you just out being an idiot?
I did 2.8 stages.
Oh, what happened?
So I bought the car as a an unfinished project. Let's put it that way around. And the guy had said to me, "Oh, it's as everybody says, it's 90% done." Wasn't quite 90% done. Probably more like 40% done. They'd screwed around with the ECU, so the stock ECU, they'd sent power down the wrong side, so it started to fry the ECU. There's a whole load of hoo-ha that went on with it. I've ended up putting a Haltech in it. So the Haltech and all the bits has run me another probably $6,000. So
okay, how do you like the
not
Haltech?
cheap? Fantastic. I really do like the Haltech. Yeah, compared to others, I mean, it's not as I could have gone Link. I could have gone for the Link G4, thrown it in there, and it would have done, pretty much everything straight away. I didn't like the way that there's too many wires on that bloody beams motor to make it easy to understand.
Okay.
At least with the Haltech, you put it in there. You've got to put an external map sensor in. You've got to put an air temp and a couple of other things. But it's pretty simple once it's in there and done and tuned. I mean, I've got to detune it slightly because it's got too much for the weight of the car, to be honest.
And what does it weigh?
Yeah, she's sitting north of. It was on a Heartbreaker dyno, and it was probably putting out around. I think they said like 165 on a Heartbreaker to the wheels.
Okay.
So
out of what? A 2,400-pound car?
No,
yeah,
not even that
just
much.
25. It's 25 at the moment. That car is.
Okay, 25.
That motor and the 6-speed transmission add a lot of weight to that car.
I think when we ran Mount Hood in like 2012, I co-drove for Charles Buren and crap, I'm forgetting his name. John? He was running a Beams motor in his Corolla, right?
John Reed.
Oh, John Reed.
Yeah, I think John Reed had a Beams in his Corolla that year. That thing ripped.
That was a very, very well put together car.
What's this guy out east has it now? And I'm drawing a blank. God damn, I'm horrible. Duplessis. Wait.
Chris seems to get a lot of rear-wheel drive cars out there. So
that guy's hilarious. Did you guys ever see the video of him like talking to people behind the scenes at some event out there? Like that is what Rally needs, is people like him. Anyways.
Yeah. Somebody's got to film it though.
No, I know, that's true. What is Alex doing? Can I ask?
I haven't really looked at the RX-7 in like months. So
true. Is that
there's like definitely evidence of rats.
Oh no.
Alex, this thing has started and ran at one point, and then you just stopped.
Yeah, because I don't have days off.
Yeah.
You're a fine one to talk, AJ.
Yeah, I blow things up and break things, and yeah.
Oh God, it's awful in here.
Oh my God. Like seriously, man.
Oh, these are definitely Black Widow type of webs. They're very stringy. Like I haven't even driven on these things, and like there's so much goop on here.
Oh.
Ugh, it's awful.
No, Matt, I've played with a bunch of street cars in between the rally car, and
well, that's good.
And then also done a couple of houses and everything else, and
yeah, fair
life
enough.
keeps getting in the way.
You're a
the problem
busy
is
gentleman.
the proper stuff gets in the way of play. We understand that.
It's amazing how much stuff rusts. Like I haven't even like driven this car. That's rusted. This is all from like 3 separate years of wildfires, just accumulating ash. Ugh.
Well, I mean, California is basically in a constant state of burning, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. This is all just ash from the last couple of years.
Okay, so when are we going to finish this car?
I don't know. Why am I the only video I'm seeing right now?
Oh, because yours is the only one that's interesting, because nobody wants to look at our ugly mugs.
It's like super rusty. I don't even know if this T5 is going to work. I bought it from a guy like 7 years ago in Idaho. So it's actually an RX-4 bell housing mated to an adapter plate that mates it to a world-class T5. This fucking boot's falling apart. Jesus Christ.
Did anybody see Jason's comment of the Blair Witch car build process?
I did see that.
That made me laugh. Sorry. Anyways,
Alex,
carry on.
Alex, how much you got left on this? Give us a quick status update.
So if I was to connect the exhaust, and then let me go back here, and connect the fuel line for forever, it would fire up and not deafen the neighbors because it's an open header right now. So if anyone isn't familiar with a rotary with an open header, it's not a great way to make friends.
Or really good friends.
Hold on just a second. So anyway, this is...
Unless they've got a peripheral port to next door, and then it's easy.
Right.
Well, so we're lucky because our neighbors, they're like supercar people. He's got a Studebaker. He's got an old Volvo or Saab Turbo, a 914, some other crap. They have a school bus they bought just to tow. So they're cool. We get along. Don't mind my hood prop. Anyway, some of it is finishing this to be legal. So the fuel lines are legal because you don't need to. This force field protector is fine now, I guess. This is fine, but this is not fine. So I need to solve this. And I could do that with either a 24 AN fitting and some braided line to somewhere over there for a filler, and then it would be okay. Or I have to make a huge box. And I don't want to do that. So,
or you could do what we're having to do with some of our Canadian cars is actually have them have an aluminum tube to the outside rather than braided.
Yeah,
I was thinking of that as well, just taking together some tube and then kind of just running it from there out to somewhere. Obviously, I don't want to be probably under the cage, so if it gets crushed, it doesn't crush the tube down. But
mount it in the Lexan window. Make it easy.
Oh, by the way, escort flares work on everything.
Right. But his cell is so damn tall, like he still needs a downward slope to it.
Is there gonna be a fucking cat in here? Someone like on our street died and their cat got loose, and it's like a $20,000 rare breed cat.
No cat is worth $20,000. I'm sorry.
I think it's one of those like genetically engineered to look like a leopard or something. Holy crap!
You mean like a serval?
It's like an OC cat. Like if you Google, like OCI cat or something like that. Anyway, this is the other problem. So this shifter is super far away. Like it doesn't look bad, but if you're seated, this is as far away as your arm can be from the seated position. So the shifter just doesn't work. I tried, and it's really hard to drive the car because I can't get closer. So this obviously is not my Harley Davidson. It's trying to do a mock-up, but I'm basically trying to do what Matt did. I don't know if Matt can show people in his video what his shifter looks like, but I'm trying to recreate something similar to basically do a remote shifter.
Yeah, no, the scariest not scary shifter ever. Something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to make a less shitty version of what you have.
Fair enough. Well, mine works. All right, it's shitty. I mean, mine's all old. What the hell was it?
Fuck, this is rusty too. God damn it. This is like the undersea car.
Mine was a bunch of shifter parts from a Subaru. So, I mean, it was what
Alex,
I had.
there's some complaints about your wiring.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's not done. Let's not talk about that. It's okay. It's coming along. Like some of the stuff's mounted. It's just not done. I don't really like the steering either because unfortunately this had some play to it. So I think I'm going to do what Matt did, and we're going to go with the electric power steering. And I'm going to get rid of the Mazda power steering pump because I've overheated 2 of those, like not even racing, just doing like rally crosses or aggressive driving. So I kind of want to get rid of it. I think it cavitates with high RPMs.
Well, in the heat, and so then you have to add like a cooler to the whole thing.
Probably. God, it's small in here.
Yeah, no.
But when you can pick up the Yaris steering thing for like $30 at a yard, and you don't need the ECU for it because it's self-centering. So
That's,
both
I've
Matt
got the Prius one.
yeah, Matt and I are both using the Prius one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna flip the video.
It's the same one, I think.
I think you're right. Here,
Ooh, that is really weird looking.
That is,
but I actually have a
like,
lot of headroom, Matt. I don't think we talked about this cage because you haven't seen the car. When you were here for the wedding, I don't think we looked at it.
No,
at least
no, you like for 5 seconds showed me your car. I came all the way down to California for a wedding.
Trying to find a view. I don't know. Anyway, I have headroom. Look at that.
Yeah, but put a helmet on and some padding, and your head will be bouncing off the cage.
Probably. I also don't like this. This is a little bit in my way, but I think I've committed to it. I just need to get the car done. This is the closest thing to running, so.
You just need.
I believe we've all suggested the same thing to you, that you should probably just get it running.
Right.
I know, but so one problem is I don't know how I'm going to get it quiet enough to pass tech. Because what is it, 95 decibel?
Oh, ish. Nobody runs.
Nobody cares.
Well, this muffler isn't going to work.
Okay, not unless you go up to Canada. There you go.
Yeah.
It's 3-inch, but it's a racing beat, so this is probably 15 pounds. I don't know if it's portly enough, but the one that, hold on, I have to embarrassingly get out of this car. This is going to take a minute. Fucking damn it. I'm too tall for this. Yeah. All right. So one advantage is having your gas tank here is I have all the space on Earth for a muffler.
Oh, yeah.
And since I did a 4-link.
So you can put like 4 in because you're going to need 4.
Yeah. Well, what I'm thinking about doing is bringing the exhaust from here somehow. But the problem, so this is why you should think about stuff before you do it. I don't know where to bring the exhaust over the axle because if you look, the 4-link is there, right? It needs to move. I have the panhard bar mount. There's not a lot of space there or there, and that's going to move. So I don't actually know where I'm going to bring my exhaust through. I think I fucked up.
You might have fucked up.
Yeah.
Do a cutout in the end. Do a cutout inside on the tunnel.
Yeah.
Just do a hoop into the tunnel for it.
It will literally kill you with heat and fumes.
No. Weld it up. You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. I mean, we only melted like 2 shoes in the old RX-7.
Oh, I think that's where all my brake fluid went. Lame. Where's that oil? I don't really want to touch it right now and find out. So, I don't know. The suspension works nice. I just don't know how I'm supposed to keep this quiet. So I'll have to
I'll
move the brakes over there.
Go to your first rally. Just accept that you're going to get a fix-it ticket. Get the damn thing running. Put some sort of muffler on it. And if you don't get a fix-it ticket, call it a win.
Let's start with getting it to drive up and down the road and stop. Since I don't know if there's brake. That could either be axle fluid or brake fluid. I'll have to investigate that.
Seals like to be warmed up every now and then,
It was like 108 in the summer. I'm sure it's fine. But
so Matt, this is basically what we do: is we sit here and make fun of Alex for not doing anything, and then coming up with 11 different other ideas that he wants to do. I mean, I'm bad. I will fully admit that I am horrible when it comes to like coming up with new dumb ideas. But
no, and the funny thing is, Alex's sweet wife has done the absolute bare simple, keep it simple, build a rally car, keep it stock, and go race it.
Yes,
and has been racing more than her husband has.
Yes.
Yeah, that's totally accurate.
That is completely. Anyway, so
by the way, it's
Matt,
like 56 degrees outside. So
as I talk to you while you're drinking.
Sorry.
So tell us more of your Corolla. I don't know. Like, I do.
So it's an 87 that's been campaigned since 2000 up here. It's had the Celica rear end put into it with a 534, I think it is.
Alex,
Welded rear
stop
end.
breathing.
Okay.
That's just blocker in there, so it's it hooks up reasonably well. Cheap and cheerful.
Excellent.
Right. Start off as a 4 AGE. The guy that I bought it from decided that wasn't enough power, wanted to go and do something different. Threw in this Beams motor with a 6-speed transmission out of the Altezza. It's interesting. It's a tight fit. It really is a tight fit. It's even tighter when the fact that you can't get hold of a decent manual rack for it to make it work. So,
why can't you just loop the lines on the power rack and put a quickener in there?
So it's got a quickener in there at the moment. It's not just that. It's just it's the fact that you actually have to cut away the webbing on the bottom of the sump to actually fit over the top of the rack.
So actually, that brings up a good point. So you got a quickener and the Prius rack in there?
No, I don't have the Prius in there at all. It doesn't need it. On that car, to be honest, you can steer it on the throttle so easily. It's the dimensions of the Corolla are exactly the same as a Mark 1, Mark 2 Escort.
Okay.
So they turn on a dime. It's 104 inches. It's fantastically easy car to turn. You don't need anything more than that. The previous owner didn't even have a steering quickener in it. He just had the stock rack.
I've been really curious how the quickener goes with the Prius assist.
I think you'd be too much.
Yeah.
So that car's because it's a 2-to-1 quickener in there. I think it works out.
You can't sneeze.
Precisely. It's fantastic. It is fantastic. It's like you get full lock on just over half a turn from center. It's awesome. So it's ideal for I learned to drive in a Mark 1 and Mark 2 Escort. So for me, looking out the side window is perfectly normal. But for anybody else, it can be a little bit intimidating, shall we say. I like it. It suits my driving style. Not everybody will get on with it. I mean, if it was a choice of one or the other, I'd have probably gone for a Prius. But then it's extra wiring, it's extra draw on the battery, extra draw on the alternator, you know.
Well, so my concern is because all the gearing inside of the Prius steering is plastic.
Yes.
So
there is one of the Toyotas that's actually a metal one. I've actually got a list somewhere of it. I'll try and send it over to you. It actually lists all of the ones that have got the metal and plastic inserts. The Yaris, I believe, and the Igo are metal.
Okay.
And the Pontiac is as well. It's got the same style that doesn't need an ECU feed for it or a CAN bus, and that's a metal one as well.
What was it? The Pontiac? Are you talking like the Saturn Vue stuff?
It's a Saturn Vue, yeah, and I think it's also the Wave had it.
That had right. So you had to get a little rheostat thing off eBay to control that, because I had that whole setup, and then sold it to Phil. And you need to buy an additional thing for it to even turn on.
Yeah, but you don't actually need the full-on ECU, because on some of them you have to have a complete ECU to fire them up. So
yeah.
Dinner time.
Is it dinner time?
Is it? Oh, it's dinner time. Apparently.
It's dinner time.
Come here and say hi. Say hello, everyone.
Hmm?
Huh?
I'll tell you what, I'll be down for dinner in a few minutes. Give me 15. Did you make it? All right. Whoops.
Whoa.
That's gone.
Yeah,
all right. So
I do have a full list for it, but I mean, it's to my mind, to my mind, I actually prefer the steering quickly. You actually get more feedback from it rather than the Prius, which is the electronic one, which will deaden some of the feedback.
Oh, yes, I don't disagree with that, but I also didn't care.
You've only got little arms anyway, so you can't yank it around so much.
I got their little dainty arms, and no, the steering wheel that I got in there is too tiny, and so I don't know. Just I wanted to be a lazy fat American. And
it also depends on how close you have your steering wheel to your body as well. That'll have a huge impact on how much steering force you can put in.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I mean, it took the better part of a weekend or two to put the whole thing in. So, and it works. And they're like $40-50 if I need a new one. So
yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing. Like, it's the part nobody wants from a Prius. Because if you ever go looking for used ones, they're like, oh, the batteries or, some other shit. And I was like, oh, what do you want for the steering? Oh, I have no idea. So
yes, when Pick and Pull do the 50% off, we go and get them.
Ah, nice. I have yet to see one at a Pick and Pull around here. So there is yet any. And of course, AJ is now going to go look.
Of course, AJ's what?
You're going to go look. Actually, now I'm going to go.
Look at row 52. Yeah. They're always the best ones.
I know.
No.
Pick and Pull. But, well, so then, okay, so when are you're doing events or doing things, assuming the rally doesn't get shut down?
Yeah, well, so with the next event in Canada, nationally and regionally, is actually Rocky. Cars, I was in touch with Cars yesterday about it. They are assessing the situation, which is, typical words for we don't know what to do yet.
Right.
The problem is that a lot of places there's been a ban on anything over 50 people now.
Yeah.
So we're umming and ahhing on that one. But because we're still 2 months out, it's not a huge problem as it stands at the moment.
Okay.
Hopefully it's going to be cleared up, and we're hoping 6 weeks before we can get back out.
Excellent.
But the problem is that once we put that one off, there's nowhere else to put it back into the calendar. It's no different with you with 100 Acre Wood and OTR and Olympus and all the others that are going to get bumped because of it as well. So
right. No, I know. I'm hoping that I don't know. I'm just hoping that something will happen for the better.
Maybe we need a season of test days. No real big rallies. Just get cars out on travel.
That's the thing that we're looking about doing as well. We're actually just looking about running rally sprints. So we've got a 5K loop that we can use. I mean, it's not ideal, and it gets a bit boring after a while. So we turn it around and run it the other direction. But it's a good test for us as well, so that we can get out and play. But we just had our second winter event. So we've got nothing now for, like I say, 8 weeks.
Right. Well, here's hoping that it all pans out to be something that we get to. Because when is Olympus? It's coming up in end of April?
End of April, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean...
Yes, last full weekend.
My kids are technically out of school until, was it April 24th or something?
Yeah.
Okay, I just looked up for a Prius. The closest Prius is in Chico, California to me. So, hey, Alex, it's all you, buddy.
That's actually his backyard.
Or just buy them online.
Or
Chico's not my backyard. Let's just be clear.
Yeah, no, Chico is not.
It's the same state. It's his backyard.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's really going to piss me off if the year that I thought I was going to do a bunch. But that's going to be about right, because the year that I finally planned and had everything will be the year that it gets canceled.
Well, so what you do is you save your money up and come to Merit in October, end of September. Are we going to run the Group D so you can have anything that's over 30 years old come out and play?
I know.
Which rally is that?
It's PFR, Pacific Forest Rally.
Yeah. Okay.
We're looking about we're trying to set something up so that all the old two-wheel drive cars, so anything pre-1990, basically you come out and run as a separate class alongside open and production car. You come out and away you go. And there are the only rule is if you protest, you're out. So
I like that.
It's like for like.
Right.
And it's designed so that we can come out and bring as many older cars as we can. So,
does it have to be an older car that people want to see, or can it be like
no? You can bring out any two-wheel drive car as long as it's pre-1990.
That's awesome.
So,
and
that sounds like our wheelhouse.
Does it count if it's converted to two-wheel drive?
That's
well,
yeah, we can. Yeah, well, yeah, no, that's
never
fine.
again, AJ.
Yeah.
No, never again.
It's 15 minutes.
You know that ended really well last time.
That car is fun to drive in rear-wheel drive. When it's
I'm
not
sure
broken.
it was.
Hey,
This is what I remember.
We've had a guy up here that's that's just converted a Subaru RA into
I deserve
front-wheel
that.
drive. Oh, upside down.
Oh, all right. All right, so Olympus, we're crossing our fingers. Oregon Trail, we're crossing our fingers because I'm.
What's involved in bringing a rally car to Canada?
Just get in your car, drive to the border, come across. There you go.
Car's
Yeah.
got
Okay, so if you drive the car across,
No, you can put it on a trailer. Just say you're coming to an event in Canada. Don't say you're coming to a rally. Do not say you're coming to a rally because most of them look at you and go, "Yeah, rallies aren't good." So just say you're coming to a race and you're fine.
An auto race.
Okay.
An auto
Do we
race.
need to
Don't
bring
say
like our title?
I don't think you need the title.
Stopped by the cops. No, you get stopped by the cops. You need to prove that it's your car.
Do you?
Yeah. So up here at all times you have to have insurance and title in the car. Yeah. Yeah.
Does the insurance for America work written up there? Like, do we have to get different insurance for a different country?
No. The North American insurance covers you in either country. It's good, and down in Mexico for us. So.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Nice. All right. So, are you going?
No, you just turn up to the border. Tell them you're coming to a car race. You've got your entry as well. So, if they do question it, you go, "Here's my entry to a Canadian rally race," and just go from there. So.
There you go. What are you going to take north of the border, Alex?
We were just thinking it because there's a really good Canadian events, and if we ever wanted to do one, we were always going back and forth on should we tow one of our cars, or it would be better just to rent something in Canada. Part of it is we're like a day away from Canada. It'd be like a 20-hour drive, but
so there's very little to rent in Canada at the moment. There's
a truck.
There is a truck. However, that has the same problem as your Audi does. It does turn over. Just saying.
Oh yeah.
There are.
I will say that shit boxes are.
I'm not sure that's an Audi problem, more of an AJ problem.
Yeah. No, there are a couple of cars up here. None that, to be honest, I would actually rent. There's a Civic. There's a couple of Civics, and to be honest, they're not really prepared well enough for some of these events. They're just basically somebody wants to come out, try one event, and walk away from it. So,
my car is not prepared enough for any event, so that's fine.
Your car's more prepared than AJ's car.
That's not true at all.
Actually,
AJ's car's done a rally. It hasn't finished one, but it's been there. It's been on a stage. That's a heads up. Yeah.
It has officially entered one.
Okay.
It's done very well.
Yeah, so I mean, the other thing to do is to see who's in the P&W, see who's got a car to rent. I mean, the Clark Empire's probably got 15,000 cars they could probably rent out at some point.
I'll just probably wait until Matt or AJ want to do it, and then I'll make them go up there, and I'll just co-drive for them.
There you go.
I'd love to do PFR.
There you go. No, that's on. I don't know if that's going to be this year or probably next year.
Big White's a really good event.
Do you have a preference between the two if you're going to do one or the other?
Ooh.
Me, I would. So I'm not a fan of the road at PFR because Big White because I crashed on it. It was in a Talon. Don't go there. I actually like both events. For sheer driving, the gravel of PFR is the better one.
Yeah,
to be honest. But the party atmosphere of Big White is second to none.
Nice.
Canadian ski resorts are amazing for a good party.
Well, it's not only that, but for the last 10 years or so, it's been the end of year party basically. So it's a good way to relax, and there's more hot tubs you can shake a stick at. Beer's relatively cheap. You know, add the two together, see what happens. Nothing if any of the wives are around, because that just
nothing
happens at all. It is a really good event. It's very well organized. 2 days worth of pure snow rallying. It'll rival anything in Europe for the snow, to be honest.
That's awesome. I don't know if I have the stones to ever rally on snow, quite frankly. So
it does take an awful lot of tires. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of faith in me right now. So
to be honest, at that event, if you can get to the end, you're doing better than probably a good third of the field. So
isn't it just basically finishing half the time, and you'll probably...
at that event it does depend on what we've had. I mean, we've from 1 year to the next, we actually had gravel on some of the stages on 1 year, and then the next year we had 4-foot snowbanks, 5-foot snowbanks. So
wow. That's awesome. Well, maybe someday. We'll I don't know. We'll get there someday.
And some of the stages are 35K, so 20 plus miles for a snow stage.
Okay,
how long?
A long stage.
35K, so 20 plus miles.
Jesus Christ, that's awesome. All right, well, we'll put that on my bucket list of events. I want to go do a bunch of Canadian events, but you know, like I need to get my feet back going again around here, and yeah, you know, it's blasting the cobwebs out of me more than anything else. So, but all right, I think we're gonna call it because we've rambled for about an hour, and Alex can't figure out how to use his phone. So
no, I can figure it out. It's just the signal and the computers last time was awful, and then I'm just walking around doing weird things. So
fair enough. All right, so Mr. Pullen, I very much appreciate you coming and chatting with us.
Not a problem.
You're always welcome to come talk. Nothing, basically, is all we ever do.
A lot of nothing.
A lot of nothing. We'll get on tangents and talk about nothing. But AJ and Alex, thank you very much for coming and hanging. And
yeah,
AJ, go eat dinner.
Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta.
All righty, lads. We'll talk to you again soon.
Have a good one. Later. Bye.
Bye.